This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Carter. I welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, October 23rd, 1993, the second biggest day in Canadian baseball history happened. Obviously, the biggest day was October 24th, when the 1992, when the Blue Jays won the World Series for the first time in history, taking care of the Atlanta Braves in Game 6 and bringing the World Championship north of the border, as Sean McDonough said. But this is a bigger day, in a sense. So, of course, you know the home run and the guy who's hit it. But I gotta give you context. Now, this is a little bit biased because, I'm from Canada and, Toronto Blue Jays are my team. But I remember the joy I had when my maternal grandmother, Grandma Snyder, actually bought the official 1992 and 1993 World Series VHS tapes for me. It was a great honor, and I held them for many years until I got rid of my VHS tapes, not realizing that my buddy Bill Lang is a VCR guy himself. What can you do? So anyhow, the 93 World Series, I would watch this every freaking time for a long time. Anyway, the Blue Jays were coming off their championship season. Now, the 1993 Toronto Blue Jays, it was a whole lot different. In fact, for many years, the 93 Blue Jays, the 92 Blue Jays had the most players off the roster for one World Series roster to the next season and all that. So the Blue Jays were rebuilding. Like, they really had to rebuild. Like, you can't imagine what the 93 team went through in the offseason. Losing some players. They got rid of Kelly. When you look at the rosters for the two teams, from catcher to the infield, and the pitching staff, things were different. Pat Borders was still the catcher. First baseman was still John Olerud. Second base was still Roberto Alomar. Shortstop was different. The Blue Jays had Manny Lee as their shortstop, but Manny Lee wasn't much help anymore. They decided to pick up Dick Schofield to have the shortstop job. But Schofield got hurt, and the Jays needed some help. So the Jays, mid-season in June, made a trade with the New York Mets. They traded Darren Jackson away. Now, Darren Jackson actually was picked up from the Blue Jays in spring training for Derek Bell, because Derek Bell kind of got a little lazy during spring training, and the Jays brain trust decided to get rid of him. So they traded him to San Diego for Darren Jackson, the good color commentator to Hawk Harrelson on White Sox podcast. But anyway, and of course the GM who decided to get rid of Frank Thomas because he was slowing down and kind of a prick. So he was traded from Toronto to the Mets for Tony Fernandez. Kelly Gruber was gone at third base, replaced by Ed Sprague, who was the hero of Game 2 of the 92 World Series. Gruber was traded for Louis Soho, who went back to Toronto. In the outfield, left field, Candy Maldonado was gone. He went somewhere. I can't remember where Candy went off to, but he was gone. Joe Carter was still in right field in a sense. Devon White was still there. So the Blue Jays needed help. And Dave Winfield. Well, Dave Winfield was a DH, but now Winfield, after winning the World Series, left Toronto for Minnesota to play for his hometown team, if you will. The Blue Jays lost Jimmy Key. He left for the Yankees. Dave Steve kind of left for retirement because of an injury. David Cone was gone. He went to Kansas City in the 92 offseason. So the Blue Jays, and Tom Hankey, their reliable closer, left for Texas. So the Blue Jays were dismal. And Joe Carter nearly went to Kansas City, but he decided to stay for the Blue Jays. So the Jays made some moves. Paul Molitor was signed from Milwaukee. A move not happy with Milwaukee squad because Paul Molitor was an icon for the Milwaukee Brewers, and I tend to agree. And Bud Selig, who was owner of the Brewers, even though that he was kind of the interim commissioner of the MLB at the time, said that that was one of his biggest mistakes ever. Well, they lowballed him. The Jays took Dave Stewart as a free agent to be a good starting pitcher, and Dave Stewart was great in the playoffs for Oakland. Danny Cox was signed as a free agent by the Blue Jays. Mark Eichhorn returned to the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays would release their David Wells. Big mistake. So the 93 Blue Jays had some stuff. Willie Canady was actually purchased April 13th by the Jays from the Reds farm system. And in June 93, Chris Carpenter was drafted by the Blue Jays in the first round. Good move. Now, of course, Willie Canady. Why am I talking about this guy? Well, my first ever Blue Jay game was July 18th, I think. Yeah, July 18th, 1993, when the Blue Jays took on the Kansas City Royals at the Skydome in front of 50,000 plus. Willie Canady came in for Devon White, who was hurt. No, I think it was a rest period. So he came in, and Canady hit the only home run in his major league career to left field to walk off the Royals. One of only three walk-offs I've seen as a Blue Jay fan at that stadium. Anyway, the Blue Jays needed something big. And during the trade deadline, July 31st, the Blue Jays managed to get the guy who ruined them in the 1989 ALCS, one, Ricky Henderson. The Jays didn't lose much. So the Jays were there. The Jays were kind of decent. Well, they won 95 games, which was good. June was their good time. They were 19-9 in June, which was good. July, they were 2 games below 500. But September and October combined 18-10 before the 18-9, before the 18-10 before the season ended. So they looked good. The 93 Blue Jays had some key guys: Tony Castillo, Danny Cox, Mark Eichhorn, Juan Guzman, Pat Hankin, Al Leiter. Jack Morris was on that squad still, but he got hurt. Dave Stewart, Todd Stoudemire, Mike Timlin, Dwayne Ward, Woody Williams. Yeah, they had some good pitchers. The catchers, well, Pat Borders was the main catcher with Randy Nord the backup, but there was this hotshot prospect by the name of Carlos freaking Delgado, who was up for the Blue Jays for a few games. People forget that Delgado was a catcher at one time. The infielders had Roberto Alomar, Tony Fernandez. Alfredo Griffin was still on that team. John Olerud, Dick Schofield before he got hurt. Luis Sojo did fine for his squad. And Ed Sprague. The outfielders were Rob Butler, being Canadian. Nice. Willie Canady, Joe Carter, Darnell Coles. Sean Green was up for a few games for the 93 Blue Jays, but he didn't play the full season. Ricky Henderson, Darren Jackson, Turner Ward, and Devon White, with Paul Molitor being the DH. So yeah, they had some good times. Good times by all. In fact, October 3rd, 93, the Blue Jays shocked everyone by having the top 3 batting average winners. John Olerud easily won. He flirted with 400 for the season, but he batted 363, with Paul Molitor being second with 332. And Roberto Alomar shocked everyone by, on the final day, he got himself into 3rd place on that list. So the pitching staff was pretty good. Jack Morris wasn't that bad, but he wasn't that good either. So it was a 4-man rotation of Hankin, Guzman, Stewart, and Stoudemire in the playoffs. Hankin was 19-9. Amazing. He almost got 20 wins. Juan Guzman was good. The Blue Jays fleeced the Dodgers with that trade for Mike Sharperson. And Dave Stewart was pretty good too. So yeah, Al Leiter was a reliable person. In the bullpen, they had some good work. Ward, Cox, Eichhorn, Timlin, and Tony Castillo. So in the ALCS, the Blue Jays looked alive. They crushed the 1993 Cy Young winner, Jack McDowell, in Game 1. And I believe Game 5, too. Yeah, in Game 5. The Blue Jays won the first 2 games of the LCS, then lost the next 2, but then won games 4, 5, and 6 when it counted. So they would go on to the World Series to meet the Philadelphia Phillies, who shocked everyone from coming from last place in the NL East to the first to win the NL East and to play a famous playoff series against the Braves in the LCS. The Braves got in by the skin of their teeth. One game over the 103 win San Francisco Giants. Remember, the wild card wasn't set till 94. So anyway, the Phillies were a gas house game, as they call it themselves. And they shocked Atlanta in 6 games. Highlighted by Kim Batiste from going from GOAT to hero in game 1. He made a critical error in game 1, but then in the 10th inning, he got the winning RBI. And Lenny Dexter's 10th inning home run in game 4. Or was it 5? I can't remember. I think it was game 5 to sink the Braves in that game. And then game 6, the Phillies go into the World Series. It was amazing. Now, a little note about this World Series. This was the 4th World Series in history with games played entirely on artificial turf. 1980, 85, and 87 were the other ones. Surprisingly, you know that Kansas City actually had artificial turf for a long time at Kauffman Stadium before they went to grass in the late 90s. And 87 was Twins and Cardinals. Well, Twins play indoors, obviously. The Cardinals, they had artificial turf for the longest time because of Whitey Ball. Yeah. So anyway, it was amazing. Blue Jays, Phillies were to start October 16, 1993. Blue Jays won 8-5. It was a tight match, but 3 runs in the 7th inning, punctuated by an L. Leiter critical strikeout of, I believe, Dykstra or Kruk, I can't remember. A critical strikeout by L. Leiter helped the Blue Jays win Game 1. Schilling lost Dwayne Ward the save. Game 2 saw the Phillies put up 5 runs in the 3rd inning thanks to a Jim Eiserreich home run. Terry Mulholland beat Dave Stewart with Mitch Williams to save. Game 3 was October 19th. There was an issue because the Blue Jays had to lose the DH spot because they were playing in Philly. So Cito Gaston made a shock move. He moved Joe Carter to the first base and put John Roder out of the lineup. Well, that was 92. But in 93, he decided to put Molitor in the game and set Olerud out, which was shocking. The Blue Jays had Pat Hankin come to the mound in Game 3. It was delayed because of a massive rain delay. But when the game started, the Blue Jays just crushed it. And Paul Molitor took care of the critics, saying that he should not have been in the lineup, especially after getting rid of Olerud, the AL batting title holder. And he hit a home run. He hit a triple, too. So that was a big move. And the Blue Jays won 10-3. But Game 4 was a game within itself. It was 15-14. The final score was. Todd Stottmeyer would face Tommy Green to start Game 4. It was rainy in Philly, but there was no rain delay. Anyway, the Blue Jays started that game with 3 runs in the first inning. However, Philly put up 4 to make it 4-3. It went back and forth, and Philly seemed to have the game in hand with a 14-9 lead after 7 innings. But in one of the craziest innings in World Series history, it was humongous. A 1-out single and a walk-off Larry Anderson. Paul Molitor RBI to make it 14-10. Then Fernandez hit an RBI single to make it 14-11. When Mitch Williams came into the game, he walked the bases loaded. He struck out someone, so that's good, 2 outs. But Ricky Henderson and Devon White both had 2 RBI hits to make it 15-14. Dwayne Ward got the save. And it was huge. 29 runs in a single game by the 2 teams combined, and the most runs by losing team, 14. Unfortunately, though, Philly fans were not too happy as Mitch Williams was served a lot of death threats. And absolutely, I guess they kind of think so. However, Curt Schilling did show his postseason prowess by winning Game 5 with a complete Game 5 hitter. Then here comes Game 6. Terry Mulholland, Dave Stewart are going to go head-to-head. The Blue Jays would score first on a Paul Molitor triple. Joe Carter would have sac fly to score Molitor, and Roberto Alomar hit a RBI single. 3-0. The Phillies came in the fourth with Darren Dalton's coming to the plate on Jeremiah's right single. But the Jays scored when Alomar hit a double and then scored on the sac fly by one net break. Paul Molitor would blast one in the fifth inning with the fans chanting MVP, MVP for Paul Molitor. Obviously, that would be huge. 5-1 headed to the top of the seventh inning. Toronto looked good, but Philly put up 5 runs. It was a shock. Lanny Dykstra's 3-run home run knocked Dave Stewart out of the game. And then a comedy of errors led to Pete Incaviglia sac fly to make it 6-5. The Jays had a chance in the bottom of the eighth. Oliver drew a walk, and Larry Anderson came in to face Roberto Alomar. Alomar grounded out, and then Anderson would hit Tony Fernandez with a pitch and walk expect to load the bases. But he did get Borders to pop up and all that. Jays didn't score. But as one fan put it in the 93 World Series video, he said that at least be at the top of the order coming up, which is true. Wamco was coming to the plate. So Ricky Henderson was going to lead off in the bottom of the ninth. Mitch Williams had to come in for the save. He walked Ricky on 4 pitches, and Henderson tried to counter Williams tried to counter Henderson's speed by using a slide step style of pitching delivery. Well, that didn't happen. Devon White did fly out, but Paul Molitor hit a base hit. Henderson at second, Molitor at first, and here comes Joe Carter to the plate, who was huge. He swung on what should have been ball 3, and it would have been 2-2. So anyway, it was just humongous. Obviously, I don't want to get into deep trouble by broadcasting the calls. But anyway, I'll give you Sean McDonough's. Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line, way back and gone. And after some silence, Joe Carter with a 3-run homer. The winners and still world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays. This was amazing. But Tom Keek's call will forever be in Blue Jays folklore. Joe has had his moments, trying to lay off that ball low to the outside part of the plate. He just went after one. 2 balls, 2 strikes on him. Pitch on the way. A swing and a belt. Left field. Way back. Blue Jays win. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life. That was his legendary call. Honestly, it's amazing and all that. And Joe Carter became the second player to hit a World Series winning home run after Bill Mazeroski. So Carter was amazing. And the Blue Jays won. Well, Canada would have to wait till 2019 for another title to run their way, and that's when the Raptors shockingly won the NBA title. Now, a lot of people also count TFC's win in the 2017 MLS championship, but I don't know if people count that as a major league. I just say the big 4: baseball, basketball, football, hockey. So it was shocking. Mitch Williams put the blame on himself for the series loss. He at least did okay, but unfortunately he was basically run out of Philadelphia for that mistake and ended his career not that well. It was amazing and all that. The Blue Jays shocked a lot of people. Meanwhile, the Phillies and Blue Jays would actually have postseason droughts. The Phillies would win the 2008 World Series over Tampa, so they got their second World Series in team history after the 1980 World Series. And after that, that's the only other time they won the World Series. The Blue Jays didn't even get to the playoffs till 2015 when they won the AL East, beat the Texas Rangers after being down love 2 in the LDS. Shocking a lot of people, especially myself. I wrote them off. I will admit that. And then, of course, losing the LCS to the Kansas City Royals when they should not have. So, it was just amazing. '93, of course, was the last time the postseason would be in the two postseason round format. The LDS was added for the '94 season, but of course, it was strike shortened, so they didn't get to use it. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, this was amazing for Toronto and all that. In fact, Game 6 was the last game to be held on CBS. Sean McDonough and Tim McCarver did pretty good as play-by-play and color commentator. But now MLB went into the baseball network with ABC and NBC. And then by '96, Fox took over broadcasting rights, and McCarver left for Fox. Well, he went to the baseball network and then went to Fox. McDonough would basically be at CBS as a college football commentator and basketball commentator until 2000, and then left for ESPN, where he is today. So, pretty good. So, it was huge and all that. Everyone remembers the Joe Carter home run. A lot of Philly fans don't like it, but tough sledding. That's the way it goes. It was a moment that will never be overshadowed in Blue Jays history or Canadian history. That you can believe that, sucker. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.